the state of Tennessee. It's taken 47 years to get it back in Knoxville, Tennessee, but tonight you got the national championship. Hip, hip, hooray!
January 1, 1990, Dallas, Texas. On the sacred ground of the historic Cotton Bowl, the champions from the Southeastern Conference stood ready for battle. They all dreamed the dream that brought them to this battleground. They were the best and hoped to prove it. They had a desire to carry on one of college football's great traditions. No one knew on that day, but they were writing the first chapter of our story.
What time is it? You know, it's football time in Tennessee.
Kelly back to throw, throws the ball into the end zone, give him 6. To the 10, to the 5, touchdown, Pickens! And Bergdorf is blasted, and it was Leonard Little.
Alabama coming, a 3-down lineman. Manning throwing the ball deep down into the end zone. Touchdown! Final score, Tennessee 20, Florida 17.
Tennessee had scratched, clawed, and fought its way to become champions of this conference. But lining up across the fabled Cotton Bowl turf were the Arkansas Razorbacks, champions in their own right of the Southwest Conference. 2 teams, 1 dream. The war was on. Blasting out from behind its huge offensive line, the Razorbacks were able to march the ball early against the Volunteers, but the defense was stingy when it mattered most. Suddenly, a speedy and immensely talented freshman defender stepped up to make a play. It was just one of many plays that would make Carl Pickens the defensive MVP of the game. But stop the tape. This should give you an idea of the talent UT produced during the decade of dominance. Carl Pickens eventually became one of the most legendary offensive players in Vol history. So if such a spectacular offensive threat was the defensive MVP, who on earth earned Offensive Player of the Game honors?
And if I remember correctly, I think a running back by the name of Chuck Webb had a pretty decent day that day.
Still on his feet to the 24-yard line. Chuck Webb.
Down 6-3, Tennessee seized command in the second quarter, riding the huge shoulders of Chuck Webb.
Webb will carry the ball. He will dive, and what did he do? He scored for the Volunteers.
Then, first-year offensive coordinator Philip Fulmer detected a weakness in the Hog secondary. After a brilliant play-action fake, quarterback Andy Kelly uncorked a bomb to speedster Anthony Morgan.
Complete at the 40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Razorbacks were staggering.
And here comes Chuck Webb.
To protect the lead, Tennessee went to the ground game. In other words, it went to what had become Arkansas's worst nightmare.
The corner to the 20, cuts up to the 25, gets outside to the 30, to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. He goes all the way.
When the dust had settled, Chuck Webb rushed for a staggering 250 yards. The decade of dominance had been ushered in on the powerful legs of number 44. Tennessee won 31-27. It was the 600th win for the Volunteer program. Head coach Johnny Majors was pleased with the direction of his program. It was a sweet victory that would be a harbinger of things to come.
That's a great way to send out the first 99 years, and what a terrific send-off for our 100th birthday in 1990. And Tennessee.
If there was one aspect that changed the face of Tennessee football in the 90s, it was the emergence of great leaders who lined up behind the center. Andy Kelly, the pride of Ray County, found himself at the dawn of the decade right where he always wanted to be.
Kelly off play action to throw.
When I was real little, everybody asked me, what are you going to do when you grow up, Andy? And my answer was always, I'm going to play quarterback for Tennessee.
Kelly lived the dream, winning back-to-back SEC championships. Kelly's best asset, his unflinching ability to find a way to win.
I just remember that Andy had this amazing ability to win football games. that you never thought you were out of a game with Andy Kelly.
Watching Kelly's senior season from the sidelines was a young gun with wheels and a rocket arm to boot. His name was Heath Shuler. Shuler threw for over 1,700 yards in his first year of active duty.
Touchdown, Big Island!
He blossomed into an all-conference quarterback in 1993. Shuler's best asset? He was a marvelous athlete. Many times the play went from bad to brilliant in the blink of an eye. Shuler wasn't the only all-conference quarterback of the decade, but he was the first. Peyton Manning didn't know he was next, but when the challenge presented itself, he was ready.
Here comes Peyton Manning, making his entry as a quarterback for the University of Tennessee.
He started 4 years and became one of the most prolific passers college football ever produced. By the end of his career, he owned nearly every school and conference record. So popular was Manning, the route the Volunteers take to the stadium each game day in Knoxville was renamed Peyton Manning Pass.
Every time I'm back in Knoxville, I always drive by just to make sure the street's in good shape.
It would seem difficult to continue the impressive run of quarterbacks, but T. Martin wasn't about to let the lineage end. He waited 2 years in the wings behind Manning. When Manning moved on to the NFL, T. Martin got his chance. All he did was lead Tennessee to a national title. He finished his career 22-3 as a starter and showed Philip Fulmer and Peyton Manning that they weren't the only Vols to put their names on the map, literally. Andy Kelly was clearly established as Tennessee's starting quarterback when the Vols opened the first season of the decade in the Disneyland Pigskin Classic. While host Mickey Mouse drew the crowd's attention, the Volunteers' gaze rested on the Buffaloes of Colorado. This was the start of the program's 100 Years of Volunteers celebration, and Chuck Webb picked up where he left off in year 99. But Colorado had a response to the presence of Webb. The Buffaloes unleashed a hard-charging ground attack of their own. It was a tough indoctrination for Larry Lacewell, who was facing his first test as Tennessee's new defensive coordinator. Unlike previous defensive coordinators, Lacewell lined up the Vols with 4 down linemen in front of 3 linebackers. The alignment is commonplace today, but in 1990 it was revolutionary. Though many SEC schools used the 4-3 by decades in, Tennessee was the first. It was a baptism by fire for this new style defense, and the Vols fell behind 14 points to the Buffaloes. This edition of the Volunteers was stocked on offense, and it refused to give in to the eventual national champions. Wide receiver Alvin Harper sparked a comeback on a TD pass from Andy Kelly. Sophomore Carl Pickens refused to be outdone. Tennessee tied the game on a Chuck Webb plunge, and the comeback was nearly complete.
Touchdown, Charles Webb!
The Vols scored 21 points in just 10 minutes. Time ran out on the Vols and on Chuck Webb's final run of the day. Tennessee battled Colorado to a 31-all tie. It was a classic thriller that was but a hint of the excitement to come. Standing toe-to-toe with the Buffaloes put a swagger in the Vols' step going into the home opener against Pacific.
Touchdown, Chuck Webb!
That swagger quickly turned to a limp as the hopes riding on the back of number 44 were quickly dashed. Sophomore Chuck Webb went down with a career-ending knee injury.
Now it will be Webb limping off the football field to the near side.
Webb had told everybody that he'd never be carried off a football field. And so when he got hurt, we thought maybe, well, he just rolled his ankle or perhaps he had pulled a muscle.
Tennessee won the game but lost a phenomenal tailback.
Chuck Webb was as talented or more talented than any running back Tennessee's ever had. But he was always kind of a mystery. He was just an amazing character, but when he got the football, he could really do a lot of magical things with it.
There's an old saying at Tennessee, those who stay will play.
And Tony Thompson was one of those guys. He just kept staying around and staying around.
When Tennessee traveled to Mississippi State, Thompson was finally the man.
Hand off Thompson, big hole up the middle, breaks it to the 35, to the 40.
Who says you can't measure heart? Under the blazing Mississippi sun, Thompson earned every hard-fought inch of his 248 yards.
He scored for the Big Island all the way. What a move. Tony Thompson, touchdown, Big Island.
Thompson's runs of 69 and 80 yards proved he could carry the load. But an ensuing play was about a load getting the carry.
To the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10. Who's got the ball? Bernard.
Former offensive lineman Philip Fulmer was more than happy to make the call. Tennessee beat the Bulldogs 40-7. Only Chuck Webb had ever rushed for more yards in a game than Thompson did that day.
It was an amazing story because you like to see great guys be able to get one of those Cinderella stories.
From there, Tennessee ventured into the charged atmosphere of Jordan-Hare Stadium to take on the SEC's team of the 80s, the Auburn Tigers. With a tie, the only blemish on the Vol record, Tennessee came out razor sharp. With a 3-point lead, Andy Kelly found Alvin Harper just behind the secondary.
The pass is complete, pull down at the 40, to the 45, up to the 50. He turns it on to the 45, to the 40, to the 50.
The 82-yard strike was the second longest in Tennessee history.
To the 10, to the 5, to the 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Tigers roared back to score 17 unanswered points, and suddenly the game was tied at 26. All hearts stopped as Tennessee lined up for a game-winning field goal.
No good. No good.
And that game really felt like a loss. I mean, the game was tied, and we're walking off the field, getting stuff thrown all over us, and the Auburn crowd is going nuts with a tie.
Just 5 games into the season, Tennessee had experienced 2 of the most thrilling and disappointing ties of all time. But disappointment would turn to elation soon enough. This was the seminal moment of what would become the SEC's great rivalry, Tennessee, Florida. Just the words boiled the blood of anyone from Knoxville to Gainesville, and this night started it all.
The crowd comes alive. The Volunteers are ready. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's football time in Tennessee.
An enthused crowd of 97,000 welcomed the Gators the only way Neyland Stadium can.
I always want to look into the eyes of the opposition and see what they're thinking, because you got to be intimidated by it. It's a terrific thing.
Rule number 1 in kickoff returns, never field a kick destined to go out of bounds. Thank goodness Dale Carter never read rule number 1.
To the 40, to the 45, to the 50, cutting to the far sideline, down to the 45, to the 40, 35-30. Is there a flag on the play? I don't see one. 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown!
The Carter return opened an orange-colored floodgate. Tony Thompson scored from 23, and tight end Von Rees passed for a 47-yard touchdown to Carl Pickens. The defense added to the scoring and kept the Florida Gators out of the end zone.
Interception. Number 18, Dale Carter.
This was the breakout game for Dale Carter. In addition to his kick return, the sticky-fingered junior reeled in 2 interceptions. When the smoke settled, Tennessee scored 38 unanswered points in the second half and crushed the Gators 45-3. The game, featuring the 9th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers against the top-ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, was 1990's toughest ticket.
In football time in Tennessee.
It was a scalper's dream outside the gates and an NFL scout's fantasy inside. The Irish took the field with names like Rocket Ishmael, Jerome Bettis, and Ricky Waters. Matching name for name, Tennessee suited up Carl Pickens, Alvin Harper, and Dale Carter. This game was a marvelous display of talent. Tennessee opened the third quarter and took the lead on Tony Thompson's determined 10-yard run. Ricky Waters countered with 66, and Notre Dame was back in front.
Throws the ball deep into the end zone. It is touchdown, Tennessee!
Andy Kelly was in the midst of his greatest night in a Volunteer uniform when he hit Alvin Harper to take back the lead 20-17. The Vols were outscored in the fourth quarter 17-9 when Rocket Ishmael scored from the 44. The party appeared to be over, but Andy Kelly refused to turn out the light.
Kelly back to throw, looking into the end zone. Man is there. Touchdown, Big Orange.
Carl Pickens recovered an onside kick, and the Volunteers, down by only 5, were still alive. The Vols moved downfield with determination, and with time running out, Kelly went for the win. Andy Kelly's valiant effort fell short.
But when that ball left the hands of Andy Kelly, you felt that Tennessee was going to win that game somehow. But that's the way you always felt with Kelly.
He completed 35 of 60 passes for 399 yards, all UT records.
For the most part, that was probably one of my best games that I ever played at Tennessee. But then that last play is one of the most disappointing plays that I ever had in my Tennessee career, the last interception.
The game has become a college football classic.
To throw, looking long pass downfield. The man is there. The pass is going to be complete. Tennessee 20, 15, 10, 5.
An SEC championship still beckoned, and Tennessee finished the season in style against Ole Miss, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt.
Kelly back to throw across the middle into the end zone.
The victory against the Commodores sealed the Volunteers' second consecutive SEC championship. Tony Thompson scored 4 touchdowns and rushed for 236 yards against Vandy. He gained 1,261 yards that year. Many Vol fans would be surprised to learn that in spite of all the talented running backs the decade produced, only Thompson earned the first-team all-conference honor. The 1990 season came to a close on January 1st in New Orleans against former #1 Virginia. Tennessee spotted the Cavs 16 points before the blocking of guys like Charles McRae, Anton Davis, and Tom Meslinski began to open holes on the Sugar Bowl turf. With less than a minute to go in the game, Tennessee got the ball, trailing by 5. Andy Kelly engineered another show-stopping drive. In the fourth quarter, he completed 14 of 18 passes and finally wrestled away the lead.
The quarterback is Kelly. The score 22-17. The dive, touchdown! Big Orange in the Superdome.
It was Tennessee's first lead in the game.
As Tennessee comes from behind.
1990 was in the record book. An SEC championship and a 9-2-2 record against one of the nation's most difficult schedules were points of pride for the Vols. The final AP poll placed Tennessee at number 8. Just a few months later, 3 squad members, Alvin Harper, Anton Davis, and Charles McRae, would be selected in the first round of the NFL draft. The 1991 season began on a Thursday night against Louisville on ESPN. The Vols returned veteran quarterback Andy Kelly, but all eyes were on junior sensation Carl Pickens, and with good reason.
You know, Carl, I had confidence in Carl pretty much from the first day he stepped on campus. You know, it was obvious that he was going to be a special player.
With Tony Thompson finishing graduate school, Tennessee looked for fresh horses to run the ball. If you're looking for horses, what better place to find them than Louisville, Kentucky? True freshmen Aaron Hayden and James Littleman Stewart both cracked the century mark. But it was Pickens who seized the spotlight.
Pulls it down at the 32, to the 35, breaks outside 40, cuts back 45, at the 50, 45-40, 35-30, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give him 6.
Against Mississippi State, the Volunteers were forced to pull off another fourth-quarter comeback.
Give him 6.
Andy Kelly rallied, again, with a last-minute toss to tight end Mark Adams. The long run of the annual Tennessee-Auburn rivalry drew to a close in 1991. This season, the matchup was between 2 undefeated teams. Kelly fired 3 touchdown passes. Carl Pickens was on the receiving end of 2 of them.
Makes the catch, the 45. All you give him is 6 large ones.
I get the touchdown pass and the yardage, and I should just give them all to Carl because I basically just threw them up.
Give him 6. Lightning strikes twice.
And Tennessee won 30-21. The most memorable game of 1991 was yet to come. The 1990 game with Notre Dame might have been a classic, but the 91 edition was one for the ages.
There's never been a game like that I've looked at on TV or seen in person, and certainly been involved with as a player or coach.
You know, it was an opportunity. We had to come out of the locker room. We saw those guys standing on the other side, and they were a lot bigger than us. And we just had to put it on the line when it counted.
Touchdown Jesus looked on as the Volunteers fell behind early. Actually, falling behind is putting it mildly. Truth be known, the Vols were in a free fall.
Andy Kelly, a great quarterback, hits the Notre Dame linebacker in the chest, and he runs it 55 yards back to the touchdown. I look up, and 5 minutes going into the game, I said, for crying out loud, this thing could be 85 or 90 to nothing. You may, his foot goes through your mind sometimes. Then I got my mind back on the business.
We finally get a touchdown. Corey Fleming catches one. I think cuts it to 21-7.
Leading 31-7, the Irish were driving for more when the Vols came to life.
Blocked.
Gary kicked the field goal. Next thing I know, I heard a cheer from my fans, and I looked up, and Floyd Miley was on his way to the end zone.
To the 45, to the 40. Floyd Miley can fly. Floyd Miley has the ball at the 50.
The play was just the spark the Volunteers needed.
All the way.
We blocked it and ran it back 81 yards. I was so ecstatic. People say I came in and flat-footed to the table and said, we're back in this game. And I was all helped up because double scores. We were only 14. They were big time 31, but that looked better than 34-7.
I think that gave us a little bit of momentum going into halftime, something we had to have.
Johnny Majors came back in the locker room, and the head coaches and position coaches got together and said, hey, we need to pull this out. It's embarrassing.
And none of the players really panicked. None of the coaches really panicked. We stayed calm. We said, hey, let's stick to our game plan. Let's stop being good to these guys. Let's stop turning it over. And let's claw our way back in. Let's give ourselves a chance to win it at the end. And that's what we did. We came out the second half. We didn't turn it over. We converted some fourth downs when we had to. And we made some big plays.
Andy Kelly regrouped the offense and directed 3 critical drives. Tight end Vaughn Reeves got it started, and Aaron Hayden pulled Tennessee closer.
And White pitch will come to the tailback. This is Hayden at the 5, at the 4, at the 3, at the 2, at the 1.
You know, once we got back in within striking distance, hey, we're going back just like the year before. We're going toe-to-toe with Notre Dame. And, you know, let's just see who wins it, who can make the plays at the end.
The comeback was complete when offensive coordinator Philip Fulmer called the critical play.
Safety flicks back to throw is Kelly. Kelly throws the ball full down at the 35, down to the 20, down to the 15, down to the 10, down to the 5, down to the 4, down to the 3, down to the 2, down to the end zone. Touchdown, Aaron Hayden with a sensational call.
You know, we talked about it on the sideline. Hey, when we get it back down in that area, don't be surprised when we call the screen. And they reminded me, I knew that was a good call against that, but Coach Fulmer reminded me, said, hey, if they blitz, don't check out, that's a good one. I was like, yeah, I know, Coach. Hopefully they will blitz on it. And, you know, and it was just a great call at the right time.
In one of the most inspiring turnarounds in NCAA history, Tennessee stormed back from 31-7 to seize the lead, 35-34. But the job wasn't done. The Irish marched down the field to set up a game-winning field goal as the shadows lengthened over this historic field.
Actually, I was on the bench with a towel over my head, and I kind of was peeking out of the. I said, I can't watch this.
This will be Rob Leonard. The kick is up. The kick is good. No, it is no good. It is no.
And all of a sudden, I just saw all the orange stand up, and all the orange shakers start cheering, and I was just like, yes. I didn't even know we blocked it. I just thought, I didn't know if he'd missed it, we'd blocked it or what. I just jumped up and started running and hugging people.
It was Jeremy Lincoln who blocked the attempt, and the miracle at South Bend was complete.
The fans, you know, the fans just stayed out there on the field. They didn't leave. Nobody went to the cars to warm up. They stayed in the stands. And, you know, I guess one by one we started getting the word. And everybody put their jerseys back on without the shoulder pads, without the helmet, and we all rushed back out there on the field in the corner of the end zone to be with our fans. And I think that's what college football was all about to me that day.
I let the players yell and scream and celebrate, the coaches, for several minutes before I got their attention to talk to them. I didn't want them to quell that great excitement.
I would like to say that this was a game that none of you, in my opinion, will ever forget, as long as you live. I don't think that I've ever been involved with a comeback similar to this in my life, ever. And as a highly significant opponent, that you did it against. That truly, for any football fan or so-called authorities on it, will go down as one of the all-time great football victories in this school's history, and I bet you there's never been a comeback that will compare to it in 101 years of Tennessee football.
Especially with what had happened with those guys the year before, it was a little, I guess, sweet revenge, and just the fact that the way we had won it as a team and nobody panicked and we stuck together, that was a special win.
What a gallant, valiant group of volunteers. Let's keep taking smart pills.
Well, I blew it, but the Tennessee team surely didn't, as they went on undefeated the rest of the year. And after that Notre Dame win, Tennessee began its 90s tradition of a bowl game every year by going to the Fiesta Bowl.
The bowl wins were big, winning the Cotton Bowl and winning the Sugar Bowl. Those were big wins.
Through the years, bowl games have become one of Tennessee's most famous football traditions. The Vols rank second in the NCAA in all-time bowl appearances with 40 and are tied for third in bowl victories with 22. Tennessee has played in 13 different bowl games and is one of the handful of schools to play in the Sugar, Orange, Fiesta, Cotton, and Rose Bowls.
Kelly off play action.
Tennessee's current streak of 11 straight bowl appearances began with the 1990 Cotton Bowl. UT won 7 bowls in that span by chalking up victories in the Cotton, Sugar, Hall of Fame, Gator, Citrus, and Fiesta. Also, the Vols made history by playing in the first ever BCS and Bowl Alliance national championship game.
Now who's number one, baby? Woo!
Big changes were in store for the Southeastern Conference in 1992. With the addition of Arkansas and South Carolina, a super conference of 12 teams and 2 divisions was established. The championship format wasn't a playoff, but it sure raised the stakes of each and every conference game. In the summer of 1992, Big Orange Country was rocked with devastating news.
Somebody had called, I would think I was working at the TV station that day, and somebody called in, and I didn't believe it at first. I said, this can't happen.
Like a death in the family, in your own close family. The University of Tennessee football team suffered a serious loss this morning. Head trainer Tim Karen died at UT Hospital of an apparent heart attack.
It's one of those things that just knocks you back in your seat, and you sit there and look at the wall for an hour and think, my gosh, how can it happen?
The death of Tim Karen was the first in a series of events that would shake the very foundation of Tennessee football and change its landscape forever.
And I still think there's a little void in the athletic department. You don't lose a guy like Tim Karen and not still feel it.
On the heels of the Tim Karen tragedy, no one could have imagined the impact of the next news bulletin.
Good evening. UT coach Johnny Majors is in critical but stable condition tonight at UT Medical Center.
Coach Majors underwent 3.5 hours of open-heart surgery this morning.
But the season for Tennessee pushes on. There's a full-scale scrimmage tonight, the second major scrimmage of the preseason. Coach Philip Fulmer now, the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator, will take over the reins.
And I'm confident, just like Coach Major said, he sent a message to the team, you know, straight ahead. And that's just the way that he approaches things. You'll appreciate this, straight ahead, attack, attack, attack.
He was the offensive coordinator. He knew the offensive game plan. He was a trusted assistant, was a promising head coach candidate, and he was the obvious, and I think probably at that time the only choice to take over the reins.
Thrust into a new role, he prepared for the season opener with Southwestern Louisiana. Adding to the chaos, Tennessee was beginning a new era at quarterback.
You know, and as a receiver, that's what you hope for. If you're going to get a new quarterback, please let him be able to throw the football.
Into the end zone, pass downfield, give it to him. Touchdown!
With hopes riding on the strong arm of Schuler, Tennessee drilled the Ragin' Cajuns, and a new era was underway.
Give him 6.
There was one other new addition to debut. Junior college transfer Charlie Garner joined Hayden, Stewart, and Phillips to complete Tennessee's powerful 4-cylinder running machine that knew only one gear: forward.
Welcome to the Johnny Majors Show. Coach Majors recovering from surgery. Interim head coach Philip Fulmer, the winningest coach in major college football. He's never lost a game.
John, and seriously considering retiring at this point.
With victory number 1 under Fulmer's belt, the Volunteers headed for Athens to meet the highly ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Sanford Stadium was filled to the rim for this SEC showdown. Entering the game, 14-point underdogs motivated Heath Schuler and the rest of the Volunteer squad. In spite of Tennessee's loaded backfield, Schuler led the team in rushing. He also led in passing.
Heath Schuler's athletic ability. We'd all heard about it. We all thought that Heath had the chance to be a very special quarterback. But that night he made things happen out of the ordinary. And then the 4th and 13 play, of course, basically saved the game.
Coach Cutcliffe calls a play of, he said, I want to call a certain play. And everybody looked at it. It was 62 Meyer. And we kind of looked at each other and said, oh, it's going to work.
Back to throw on 4th down 13. Schuler across the middle, complete to the 20. With the football down, he goes to the 17-yard line.
I'm Condrich Holloway here in the victorious Tennessee locker room with Heath Schuler, and I've seen a lot of games, but I've never seen a young man come through and do the things you did today.
We just came together as one unit, played really hard, and it was a team effort.
So I think everybody realized after that night that Coach Fulmer could put together the game plan, could execute, and could manage the sideline. I mean, that's the biggest thing, making the decisions on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 2 and all those. And Coach Fulmer that night was flawless.
Well, we actually beat a team that's probably better than us physically, and we were all so happy to do that collectively as a team and a staff. We got it done, and we kind of kicked the season off in great fashion then. And the sky's the limit. We at that particular time, we could have beaten anybody in the country.
We're going to take them one at a time. Beat all that. We are going to stick together. You're a wonderful, wonderful bunch of people. I know that you will enjoy the win to the max and stay out of trouble, fully out of trouble, so that everybody's in the hunt come Monday to get those Gators.
The Vols won 34-31, and interim head football coach Philip Fulmer was 2-0. The nation took note.
And the people here in Knoxville are beginning to talk that once Coach Majors does come back, they may lose you to another institution of higher learning as a head coach.
Honestly, I've always dreamed of leading a team through the T, and I've been through it as a player, been through it as an assistant coach, and it was sincerely one of the biggest thrills of my life to have a chance to do that.
The Georgia victory celebration didn't last long as the imposing Florida Gators came to Knoxville.
A lot of people thought, well, the next week it's going to come crashing back down to earth, but again, Coach Fulmer kept his team very focused.
I think going into the Florida game, with Florida ranked number 4, we had the attitude that we could position ourselves in the national picture.
Defense and kicking, as usual, played a major role in this one. An 11-yard run from Schuler gave the Volunteers the early lead.
Yes, yes, yes. Heath Schuler can run. Give him 6. Touchdown, Heath Schuler.
But athletic prowess would take a back seat to Mother Nature. And on this day, she was waving a big orange shaker. The squall was so bad, ABC's television feed out of Knoxville was knocked off the air. While the national audience was watching static, Mose Phillips sloshed his way in the mire 66 yards for a touchdown.
Schuler, misdirection, throws the ball. It is caught by Tennessee at the 35 to the 40, to the 45 to the 50, to the 45 to the 40, to the 35 to the 30, to the 25 to the 20, to the 15 to the 10. He has scored. He has scored. He has gone all the way.
That was a very special time to stand on the field and watch it rain. And Mose Phillips caught a swing pass out of the backfield and runs 70 yards for a touchdown. And when he gets to the end zone, he looks at his watch and he says, "It's about time."
Todd Kelly and the Tennessee defense held the Gators to only 68 yards rushing and under 300 yards in total offense.
I took it so seriously. I mean, that morning, I don't think I brushed my teeth. My parents came, knocked on my door. I didn't answer the door. I was so much in the zone because it was an ABC game. And just when I played, I just felt like I couldn't be stopped. And that was the best game I ever played in my entire life.
That's when I realized that Philip and his guys were really turning the corner.
The Volunteers and Philip Fulmer remained undefeated with a 31-14 win over the Gators. More importantly, victories over 2 Eastern Division teams put Tennessee in the driver's seat of the SEC race.
And, we really played well. We beat Georgia, who we weren't supposed to beat. We beat Florida, who we weren't supposed to beat, and really got on a roll. And I think at that time, the fans and everybody kind of jumped on Coach Fulmer's bandwagon.
But it was still Coach Major's team, and when he came back, it was time for him to take back over, and we all tried to do our best to make it continue to work.
Okay, man, you've grown day to day. You've grown week to week. Attack, attack, attack. Always attack. Hit them the quickest and the hardest and the longest.
Following the victory over Florida, Johnny Majors returned and coached the Cincinnati game from the less stressful confines of the press box.
I don't think anybody ever doubted that he would return. I think everybody was just hoping that he would wait till he was totally healthy and come back. And I think as everybody looks back on it, perhaps he pushed it a little bit too much, and that caused some of the difficulties.
Philip Fulmer directed Tennessee's 4th victory in as many games from the sideline. Just 4 weeks earlier, Tennessee seemingly had no head coach. Now, for some, it had two.
As a player, you have your loyalty to your head football coach, and that's where a lot of the players did. And it almost felt like, at a point in time, it did separate our team. We didn't know which way to follow. And with Coach Majors coming back, it caused a conflict.
Coach Majors was back on the sideline when Tennessee won at LSU. And then things went sour, sort of, because Tennessee lost a one-point game at home to Arkansas, then lost to Alabama.
Tennessee had lost 2 consecutive SEC games. The championship and the season were slipping away.
But now we understand that some fans are trying to get Coach Fulmer to return, and the way we understand it, there's a large rock outside the athletic offices there at Tennessee with the words, "Johnny is back, we want Phil." When you go to work and you see something like that, how, if at all, does it affect you, Coach?
It doesn't take a lot of guts to go out and do something in the darkness and paint a rock. It doesn't take much ingenuity.
Well, let me ask you this, Coach.
So, in my opinion, you're going to get some criticism, but you just keep on keeping on. But also, there's the legions of the miserable sometimes. It's always going to be miserable. So you don't let those affect how you approach your team.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time today and wish you the best of success on the football field and off with your health, Coach.
Thank you very
much,
much,
for the
Paul.
time, and good luck at South Carolina next week.
If the Vols were to meet the Western Division champion in Birmingham, they had to win out. Conference newcomer South Carolina had other ideas. Down by 7 with 2 minutes left in the game, Heath Shuler hit Mose Phillips out of the backfield and watched one of the great runs in Tennessee history.
The ball, it's pulled down, yanked down by Mose Phillips, who makes the catch at the 45, down to the 40, down to the 35, down to the 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. He carries the ball all the way for what? Touchdown, Big Island!
Tennessee pulled to within 1. In 1992, overtime wasn't an option, and for a team on a 2-game losing skid, neither was a tie.
Fighting for the yardage, he did not make it, but the Gamecocks stopped the Tennessee team.
JJ, out of the tough losses, this is a crushing one.
I can't even put it into words. I can't put it in words at all. It's very demoralizing.
And when Majors came back, I mean, it was a different kind of attitude. And I think that affected the outcome of those 3 ball games that we lost.
The losing streak had reached 3, and all was not well in Big Orange country.
It was kind of a situation for Johnny that wasn't that good. And, hey, you know, Tennessee football around here, you know, we could take 1 loss, but 3 in a row, it's going to be some changes.
The Volunteers had an open week to contemplate the future. For some fans and alumni, the future looked brighter with Philip Fulmer at the controls. His early season success made a lasting impression. Most didn't realize it, but the die had been cast. A coaching change was imminent.
You know, the transition there was not an easy one at all for anyone, and the circumstances that surrounded it were really, you know, tough. You know, I think it made me very guarded. You know, some of the things that happened and some of the things that were said at that particular time.
It was a very gut-wrenching situation. I think at first when the news broke in midweek, nobody really believed it, that it could happen. I mean, here's Johnny Majors. You can't do that to Johnny Majors, but suddenly it turned out to be true. And the press conference in Memphis that night, I think a lot of people were still having a hard time believing this was actually happening.
The night before the Memphis State game, head coach Johnny Majors called a press conference.
I am effective December 31st, 1992, relinquishing all my duties connected with the University of Tennessee. Since the early days of watching my dad, the late Shirley Majors coach, I developed a very competitive spirit concerning football. I played hard, I coached hard, and I demanded a lot of myself and those who surrounded me. Sometimes in the heat of battle, I've occasionally said things that upon reflection I wish I hadn't. But that's been my style, and it has brought me more success than failure.
The following day, a sellout crowd packed the Liberty Bowl to witness an emotional game. But emotions overtook many before the kickoff.
You had a few guys that broke down and cried, you know, in that meeting, and Coach Majors was one of them.
I think you've thought about it. Have a good time today. Play because you love it. There's a lot of you love it. I think you wouldn't be out there working as hard as you did in practice. You don't get to play forever in football, and I'll tell you this. If I could have played football till I'm 57 years old, which I am right now, I'd still be playing. Still be playing, because it's the greatest experience I think I ever had when I was a player. So enjoy it while you can. Knock the hell out of people with a smile on your face and a good taut jaw and a good look in your eye. I don't mean smile on your face every play, but I mean enjoy it. And carry the fact that they're going to be keyed up. Well, I think we will too. Carry the fact to them, keep there all day long. If you do that in football and life, you can always walk around with your head up, your eyes alert, and you're also going to win a lot more than you lose. Think about it. Captains, you can report. You know what we're going to do, right? In your face. All right!
Coach Majors from the old school, and he gave us one of his old school pep talks, and it was very emotional. And I really feel that's why we played so well and went out and did a great job, and we dedicated that game to him.
The end of a difficult week came to a close with a Tennessee victory. Johnny Majors walked off the field, head held high. The next week marked the final walk to Neyland Stadium for Johnny Majors. Fans came in force to say goodbye as Majors ran through the tee for the final time.
The wing back is to the wide side of the field. As Garner, as the Schuler keeps the ball, fakes the pitch to Garner, keeps himself at the 3, at the 2, at the 1, give him 6.
Though nobody knew it at the time, the Majors era would officially end the next week in Nashville against Vanderbilt.
Hit them the hardest and the quickest and the longest. This is a big game. Big game. Your last one of 1992 in the regular season, it's a big-time game.
22 points were scored in the fourth quarter to ensure Johnny Majors would walk off the field victorious in his final game as Tennessee's head coach. Afterward, Tennessee accepted a bid to play in the Hall of Fame Bowl against Boston College. During bowl preparations, Majors announced he would not lead the team in the bowl game.
John, this is my last TV show at the University of Tennessee, and I want to tell you that there have been a lot of thrills. It's been some tough times to come in here on Sunday morning sometimes after a loss and a very disappointing Saturday and try to suck up your breath, and take a deep breath and suck up your guts. But the public out there was waiting to see what we were going to talk about and also what was going to be about the future.
You've always had a smile on your face.
Not always. I don't think so.
When you have a legend, and I don't care what sport it's in football, you want to see them go out on their own terms.
When I was growing up, he was University of Tennessee football. It was Coach Majors.
But there's still some hurt feelings. There's still some people that had trouble dealing with how the whole scenario played out.
Many times in a family situation, the family, they bicker and go their different directions, but let somebody challenge the family, and then we all bond together. And I think that's very much what happened at that particular time.
I'm still kind of sad that Coach Majors right now is not a part of Tennessee athletics, Tennessee football, because deep down in my heart, I think he should be.
There was no need to conduct a search for Tennessee's 20th head football coach.
Obviously, this is a very exciting time in my life. It's something that I've always dreamed of doing. Having the opportunity to coach at the great University of Tennessee, I think this is a very unique time in Tennessee history, and it's time for togetherness as a Tennessee family.
Philip Fulmer's bloodline is pure Tennessee.
This is my school, and I truly do have a love and a passion for it.
The Winchester native was a tough-as-nails offensive lineman on the volunteer teams of 1969 through 1971. His teams posted a 3-year record of 30-5. When he hung up his cleats, his coaching career began on the Knoxville campus. In 1980, after stints at Wichita State and Vanderbilt, he returned to Tennessee. Fulmer worked his way from line coach to offensive coordinator before taking over as interim head coach. Against Boston College in the Hall of Fame Bowl, the word interim was forever removed from Philip Fulmer's title. With the cloud of uncertainty lifted, the team played loose and had fun.
Holy Holy cow, what a first play.
Philip Fulmer not holding anything back.
Well, that was incredible. You know, even going back to the first play of the bowl game, you know, trying to make a statement, you know, hitting the deep ball there down to the 1 against Boston College and setting I guess the initial start of the Fulmer era, if you will.
Heath Shuler was never better. As usual, the team ran the ball, but the game plan that day was a strong hint that in the year to come, the Pigskin would be logging plenty of frequent flyer miles. Shuler received the MVP trophy and Coach Fulmer the Gatorade shower as Tennessee beat Boston College 38-23. The Fulmer era was off and running.
The momentum was built back up once again. I think that's what took it forward. You know, that flag that we were carrying, these guys are taking that flag and carrying it on.
With Philip Fulmer at the helm, longtime assistant coach David Cutcliffe was promoted to offensive coordinator. Cutcliffe had coached quarterbacks for 3 seasons, and Heath Shuler's boundless abilities were enticing to the man now in charge of drawing up plays.
We had an offense. It wasn't out there to move the ball. It was out there to score every play. I mean, that was the approach that we took, and we did, you know, a lot. You know, we had a lot of big plays.
I guess it was probably one of the most multi-set teams. We could run the 5 wide receivers in the game, and the very next play run the option.
Tennessee opened the 1993 season at home against Louisiana Tech. The new offensive style did not go unnoticed by the Texans. Junior Heath Shuler fired 3 touchdowns, and the Vols roared to a 50-0 opening night lead. The following week, a much-anticipated quarterback showdown pitted Heath Shuler against Georgia's Eric Zeier. It was the Heath Shuler show from the start.
Back to throw Shuler. Set up a screen. Pulled down by Fleming. 20. Touchdown, Tennessee!
It was the first time that we had a chance to see all of the talent. You know, you had Charlie Garner and Aaron Hayden and James Stewart on offense with Heath Shuler as quarterback, myself and Craig Faulkner out there at receiver. And they had Robert Edwards out there. They had Terrell Davis out there. And we look back on that game to see all of the talent that was just on the field that day.
The strong-arm quarterback led Tennessee to a 21-6 lead, and Corey Fleming was his favorite target.
Throws the alley-oop into the end zone. Give him 6.
Charlie Garner did his part as well, outshining his counterpart, Terrell Davis. As for Zeier, the Tennessee defense held Georgia's passing attack to a measly 114 yards.
Long pass downfield is intercepted. Intercepted.
Tennessee annihilated the Dogs 38-6. In that era, Tennessee players were judged most by what they did on the 3rd Saturday in October. In 1993, the Volunteers ended a frustrating 7-year victory run by the hated Crimson Tide. Heath Shuler lit the fuse in this explosive game.
Here's Shuler to throw the ball deep down into the end zone. The pass is going to be touchdown, Big Orange!
Tennessee's offense was stymied in the second half, but John Bexford nailed this field goal to give the Vols a 1-point lead.
God!
With the weight of the world resting on every play, Charlie Garner broke free.
35-40, 45-50, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give him 6. Touchdown, Big Orange!
Tennessee stretched the lead to 17-9 with the clock on its side. Alabama had to score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie, and that's just what it did. It was a disappointing game for the Volunteers, but the Alabama winning streak was over. 2 weeks later, Tennessee offered South Carolina a little payback from the previous year. James Stewart and Charlie Garner helped pound out a 55-3 victory.
He is loose. Inside the 30. Cuts inside. He will score.
Tennessee Star was on the rise. The decade of dominance was gaining momentum.
Give him 6. Touchdown, Heath Shuler!
Tennessee traveled to Kentucky the following week and never trailed. Charlie Garner ran over, around, and through the Wildcats for 186 yards. 48-0 was the final damage.
Volunteers running to the left side. Touchdown!
In the regular season finale, Tennessee beat Vanderbilt 62-14. It was the last time the Volunteers would play a game at home on artificial turf.
Give to Garner, starts right, cuts left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 out. Touchdown, Tennessee!
Afterwards, the Vols accepted a bid to play Penn State in the Citrus Bowl. The talk during the preparation for the game swirled around Heath Shuler's future. The junior quarterback had to decide whether to return for his senior season or declare for the upcoming NFL draft. The press couldn't wait for the answer, and the madness in Orlando was stifling and distracting. On January the 1st, 1994, Tennessee jumped on Penn State for a 10-0 lead. But the Nittany Lions overpowered the Vols for 3 quarters to win 31-13. For fans, the question remained, what would Heath do? Philip Fulmer had another question. Why did his team get physically whipped? One man had the answer. John Stuckey developed a reputation as one of America's premier strength and conditioning coaches. Now hired to beef up the Vols, he was given carte blanche by Philip Fulmer to do whatever it would take to ensure Tennessee could stand toe-to-toe with college football's elite. Fulmer's decision to hire Stuckey was good news. Heath Shuler's NFL decision was not.
The real proving ground is the NFL. That's why I've decided to move on and declare my eligibility for the 1994 NFL Draft. I'd made a commitment to myself that if I ever got a chance to play in the NFL, that's what I'd do. But I knew that I wanted to do what was best for my family and do some things that they had never been able to do.
Tennessee made a name for itself around the NFL during the decade. More alumni went to the NFL in the 90s than at any other period in school history. The number of Tennesseans on NFL rosters ranked among the top of all college programs. Tennessee had 50 players taken in the NFL draft during the 90s. An astonishing 14 Volunteers were picked in the first round during the decade.
I think that's the important thing, or the big thing about Tennessee, is year in and year out they have legitimate, good, top-notch football players come through this program, and that's why there's a lot of scouts and personnel directors come down here every year.
You go back to the Chuck Smiths, the Dale Carters, even last year with Al Wilson. I mean, we call it the run-hit factor, and they're always well coached. They're aggressive and run to the football, and when they arrive, they're in a bad mood, and it's just it's a great program.
At the end of the decade, Tennessee had the most players in the NFL among SEC schools. 34 is 9 more than the nearest conference rival. Speaking of NFL lineage, with Heath Shuler gone, Tennessee coaches hit the recruiting trail in search of a successor. Lots of stops were made and lots of miles were logged. But along the way, in early 1994, Philip Fulmer and David Cutcliffe knocked on one door in New Orleans.
It wasn't hard getting in the door because we just, had an opportunity for a young player here and had some success with quarterbacks recently, but to close the deal was the challenge.
When I chose Tennessee, I'd only been there one time for a visit. I'd never been to a football game before. I came one time in January of 1994. There was an ice storm there. It was cold. We couldn't even go in the stadium because the stadium was covered. So these were all the big selling points of Tennessee football. I didn't really get to experience those, but I just chose to go there just because I had a good feeling about it and just the good people there, and I knew it could be a special place.
And all of a sudden, here came this young man that I heard a lot about, but I didn't know if coming out of the school system he was coming out of, how long it would take him to make the strides he would need to make to be a good Division I college player. And as it turned out, we all found out that kid was a godsend.
I remember talking to my dad one afternoon about the weight coaches sent out programs, said we had to have a bench press test when we got there. And they said, you have a choice between doing 185 pounds or 225 pounds. You can do either one of those. And I didn't think I could lift either one of them. And I was really nervous about that. And I told my dad, because they said Brandon Stewart was a really strong guy. And I said, what am I going to do when I get up there? He said, son, they didn't recruit you for your bench press. They recruited you to play quarterback. Just go up there and work hard and just do the best that you can do.
Recruiting had been successful, but senior quarterback Jerry Colquitt waited his turn and in 1994 seized the reins. Peyton Manning and fellow freshman Brandon Stewart, along with sophomore Todd Helton, would battle for the backup role.
How things changed so quickly.
Tennessee opened the 1994 season at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena against UCLA. The game's first series proved to be one of the great heartbreaks of Tennessee football.
It was one of the saddest things I've ever seen in college football, was when Jerry had paid that great price to stay the 5 years, and the seventh play of the UCLA game, he tears his knee up, can never play again.
The senior quarterback's career was over. Now the season rested on the arms of 3 inexperienced signal callers.
Then all of a sudden, Coach Fulmer comes over and tells me that I'm going to play, and everything really changed from that point on.
Helton, Manning, and Stewart all got a chance to play against UCLA. Helton got the bulk of the action and came close to pulling off a miracle. Despite his fourth quarter heroics, the Vols fell short by 2 points. Known more for his baseball skills, Todd Helton's days on the gridiron were numbered, and the Tennessee coaches knew it.
Originally, the plan, from what I found out after kind of my freshman year, was that Todd was really just going to be there for maybe the first 4 or 5 games just to help bring Brandon Stewart and I along. Then he was going to leave and go concentrate on baseball because that was really going to be his ticket. And then all of a sudden Jerry gets hurt, so they changed things for Todd as well.
Helton spent the next week settling into the role of Tennessee's new starting quarterback. Between the hedges in Georgia is no place to train a new quarterback, so David Cutcliffe leaned heavily on James Littleman Stewart. Stewart took control with 4 touchdowns and 211 yards rushing.
Pitch will go to Tennessee's tailback, and he's going to break one tackle, tries to get to the outside, does, turns the corner 30, has the ball 35, 40, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Tennessee!
Tennessee's defense was stingy around its end zone, and 23 points were all the Dogs could muster. Tennessee defied the odds and beat the Dogs 41-23. The following week, Neyland Stadium was primed and ready for the home opener against #1 Florida. A national TV audience glimpsed the brilliant new emerald green grass of Shields-Watkins Field. Groundskeepers worked diligently all summer to ensure the field was the best in America. All agreed it was a job well done. After 25 years, the tartan turf was gone, and the Tennessee Volunteers were playing on natural grass. Todd Helton started the game, but after sitting out against Georgia, Peyton Manning got his feet wet. The Gators won 31-0. It was the first time Tennessee failed to score a point since 1981. A trip to Starkville was next on the schedule. It was the 3rd road trip in 4 games for the men in orange. Facing a rugged Bulldog defense, Todd Helton suffered a knee injury. Tennessee lost its 2nd quarterback of the season, and now it was time to call on a freshman.
We actually probably held him back a little bit, trying not to put too much pressure on him his freshman year to take over, but he went a lot faster than most people could ever have even imagined doing.
The cerebral Manning made the best of his opportunity. He threw for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. By the 4th quarter, the Vols were up by 7. Good, but not good enough. State rallied for 10 points and the win. It was the turning point of the season and perhaps the decade. Philip Fulmer refused to let this team quit.
So I think Coach Fulmer really stuck his foot in the ground and just said, I'm not going to let this happen. I'm not going to, just because we're 1-3 and we can't win a SEC or national championship at this point, doesn't mean we're not going to try to win the rest of these games.
That team will always be really special to me because of the heart and character and the fight that they showed and the loyalty to each other that they showed and overcoming all kinds of adversities. There's those tough times, if you handle them right and you go through them and you make it, lays the foundation to build your house on, and that's kind of what we were able to do.
We're 1-3 going in to play Washington State at home, who, like I said, had the #1 ranked defense. You lose this game, you're 1-4. Tennessee's not supposed to be 1-4. That just doesn't happen.
Peyton Manning earned his first start the next week when Washington State came calling. Philip Fulmer was anxious to see what effect his pep talk had had on his troops.
This will be Phillips. Phillips breaks one tackle at the 34, at the 29, to the 30, to the 35-yard line, and he just keeps ramming and pounding and carrying defenders for a gain on the play of 13 yards.
The Cougars sported the nation's top defense, and Tennessee matched them blow for blow. The offense produced only 229 yards, but 62 of them couldn't have come at a better time.
The reverse on a pitch. Tennessee to the near side. Sylvan breaks it 40. Sylvan 45-50, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5. Touchdown, Tennessee!
It was the only touchdown of the game for either team. In a game marked by courage and the sheer will to win, Tennessee held off the Cougars 10-9.
If we would have lost that game, it really would have hurt us the rest of the season. But the fact that we did win that game, we beat a good football team, and really turned our confidence around.
But Tennessee has been known around here for a long time, with defense and kicking. And defense, my hat goes off to you guys. Great job!
I think that laid the foundation for what you saw over the last 5 years with the success that we've had, which over that 5-year period, I think we were the winningest college team in the country.
By Tennessee, the Volunteers are racing toward the end zone. Into the checkerboard he goes as the ball was scooped up.
After a victory over Arkansas, Alabama came to town.
This will be Stewart fighting for a touchdown. Give him 6. Touchdown, Big Orange.
Tennessee's offense struggled as both freshman quarterbacks got a look.
Any natural competitor is going to want to be in the ball game 100% of the time, but I understood the situation, and if there were 2 freshman quarterbacks and both guys brought something to the table, so I didn't like coming out, but I understood when they took me out that sooner or later I would get back in.
Who was going to be the best, he or Brandon Stewart, you know, and Brandon was a different type quarterback, and Peyton was more of the pure drop back pass quarterback.
The easy thing to do is to try to force something good to happen while you're in there, because you figure if you do something great, they won't take you out. Well, they were going to take you out no matter what, so you might as well just try to make smart decisions.
Alabama took the victory, but Peyton Manning took the lesson. From there, Tennessee regrouped, and a winning streak commenced. Peyton Manning threw 3 touchdowns to lift the Vols past South Carolina. Memphis would fall next, and Kentucky would be blasted the next week.
Manning in trouble. Manning rolls to the near side. Looks for the football. Could run with it. Manning at the 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning was settling in as the Vols starting quarterback.
Peyton Manning going deep to a wide open receiver. Give him 6. Touchdown, Joey Kent.
I'll tell you, the main guys I leaned on was that veteran offensive line that I had. It was Kevin Mays was a senior, then I had Jeff Smith, Bubba Miller, Jason Lehman, and Leslie Ratliff, and that was a real veteran group. And I tell you, without those guys, it would have been a lot harder. And then, of course, I had Aaron Hayden and James Stewart in the backfield, 2 senior running backs. And that can make a freshman quarterback feel a lot better. It just gave me a lot more confidence.
Against Vanderbilt, Tennessee racked up a school record of 665 yards in total offense. With a 7-4 record, a bid to play Virginia Tech in the Gator Bowl was enthusiastically accepted.
Manning, play action, back to throw, long pass, man wide open. Can he make the catch? Oh, what a diving catch! Complete, Joey Kent.
Joey was a guy I can remember as a freshman when we were out there throwing in the off season, and coaches are not allowed to be there. And they would ask me who looks good out there. I just said, this guy Joey Kent, he can go out and get the ball. And sure enough, the 3 years he and I had together were so much fun. He did so many great catches, so many good things with the ball after he caught the ball. And he and I had a really special connection.
This bowl game had a familiar feel. Because of construction at Jacksonville Stadium, the contest was moved to Gainesville. Gator fans couldn't have been pleased to see a checkerboard end zone painted in their beloved swamp. The Big Orange dominated this 50th edition of the Gator Bowl. James Stewart ended his Tennessee career as the all-time leading rusher and ran for 3 touchdowns. Tennessee used a quick strike attack, scoring 35 points in the first half. Peyton Manning finished his rookie campaign hitting Marcus Nash for a score.
Tennessee, this will be Manning throwing the ball deep downfield to a man who races into the end zone. Give him 6. Touchdown, Marcus Nash!
Tennessee weathered a difficult year with an 8-4 record and a Gator Bowl victory. It set the stage for some big years ahead with Peyton Manning at the controls. Since the departure of Larry Lacewell after the 1991 season, journeyman coach Larry Marmie had been coordinating the defensive assignments. When Marmie announced his departure after the Gator Bowl, Philip Fulmer looked for a replacement. Rather than search the country on an extended quest, the head coach took a walk down the hall of the Neyland Thompson Sports Complex. The door he knocked on was that of linebackers coach John Chavis.
He's a very intense guy. He loves to attack the ball, and that's, he wants guys out there that's going to give it their all. He's one of those guys that's going to give his all in coaching.
Like Fulmer, Chavis was described as a player's coach, but outsiders criticized the hire. Philip Fulmer never wavered in his trust or belief in John Chavis. During the 90s, Chavis adopted a style more reminiscent of a NASCAR event. Speed became the driving force on his defense.
That's what our motto is, speed kills. We pin our ears back and we go straight to the ball.
2 newcomers arrived on UT's campus the summer of '95, and for John Chavis, they were the very embodiment of his defensive philosophy. They were Leonard Little and Al Wilson. Little arrived after an All-American stint in junior college and was the strong, silent type. Wilson came direct from the Tennessee high school ranks. Al, too, was strong, but silent? Forget about it.
Y'all bring it today. Bring it, dog. Let's set the tempo, baby. LB, 1, 2, 3, LB. It's money time, dog. It's money time. No mercy.
Wilson's and Little's delivery of size and speed signaled the start of a whole new brand of Tennessee football. Eventually, both earned All-America honors. But their teammates would tell you physical ability was only part of the story. A love of the game and love for Tennessee forged their winning attitudes.
He always had that look in his eye. I don't care if it was Tuesday or Wednesday or Saturday game day. Always had that look in his eye. And he insisted that his teammates play hard, and you could see it rub off.
Just really worked hard that off season during that spring training to really become more confident. Felt I got a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. My release got a little bit quicker.
When he hit his sophomore campaign, he was a full-fledged quarterback that you could do anything in the world with.
The band has become a 50-yard corridor. The Volunteers come racing onto the football field, and wherever you listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's football time in Tennessee.
This game was truly a classic. The Bulldogs took the opening kickoff and drove 80 yards. Tennessee answered that charge with its own 80-yard drive.
May come with a blitz. Here they come. Manning senses it. In trouble. Rolls to the right side. He's going to run with the football. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give him 6. Touch.
Peyton Manning scored from the 8, and the game was tied at 7. Tennessee took the lead in the second quarter.
This is Manning rolling out to throw. Dumps the pass into the end zone. Give him 6. Then Manning back to throw, looking into the end zone for the post route. Touchdown, Big Orange! That play was absolutely beautiful.
Slowing Georgia tailback Robert Edwards was no small feat, and when he limped off the field in the second half, the complexion of the game changed. The Dogs were now one-dimensional. Defensive coordinator John Chavis sent his charges after Georgia quarterback Mike Bobo. The defense led by Shane Burton and Terry Fair was relentless, but Georgia tied the game late in the fourth quarter with a 34-yard field goal. Deadlocked at 27, Peyton Manning mounted a drive with a lot of help from junior tailback Jay Graham.
Dumps it out to Graham, makes the catch to the 35, to the 40, breaks the tackle 45, has the ball 50, 45, 40. Graham with the ball rolled out of bounds as he gets...
With 10 seconds remaining, freshman Jeff Hall got the call.
It will be Jeff Hall attempting the field goal. 35 yards. Kick is up. Did he make it? The crowd tells you. Georgia! Tennessee 30, Georgia 27.
Tennessee beat Georgia 30-27 on Hall's third field goal of the night. Hall knew from the start Tennesseans expect a great kicking game. General Neyland's game maxim says it all.
Stress the kicking game, here's where the breaks are made.
Stress the kicking game, for that's where the breaks are made. Two different place kickers were four-year starters at Tennessee in the 90s. 8 years of Tennessee football were covered during John Becksvort's and Jeff Hall's tenure. Becksvort will be remembered for setting an NCAA record for consecutive PATs without a miss. He also added the 35th and final point to the miracle at South Bend. But when you speak of clutch performances, Jeff Hall's name will always be mentioned. Tennessee's national championship run in 1998 would never have happened without the exploits of Hall. And the game winner in 1995 against Georgia was only the start. The following week, Tennessee learned a painful lesson at Florida Field. It ain't over till it's over. In the first half, Peyton Manning and the Volunteers were unstoppable. On the first play of the game, Manning set the tone.
Pass downfield, a pass complete. Manning off play action is ripped as he throws the ball into the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee. Stepping up, looking, he's in trouble. He fumbles the football. It has been picked up by Tennessee at the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, 10, 5.
Tennessee raced to the locker room at halftime, leading 30-21. Then it was Florida's turn. A pouring rain soaked the swamp, and the Gators scored 41 points in the second half.
Manning wants to go deep, has a man out there at the 15, touchdown Tennessee.
Game 6 of 1995 found Tennessee playing in Fayetteville against Arkansas. Peyton Manning was coming into his own, and by day's end completed 35 of 46 passes. He tossed 4 touchdowns for good measure.
Touchdown Tennessee.
Though Volunteer fans knew Manning was special, this was the game that got the rest of the nation talking about the strong-arm kid from Tennessee. Next on the docket was a trip to Birmingham.
At the time, of course, Tennessee had not beaten Alabama in 10 years. It was a huge game for us going in. Once again, I think Alabama probably was very confident that they were going to win, and we just really played well.
Tennessee wasted no time proving the so-called Alabama jinx was over.
I guess it was probably during pregame warm-ups when Coach Cutcliffe came over and told me we're going to start out the game with it was called 660 bass. That was the name of the play. That was the signal, like you were fishing. I can remember that today. So we're going to start out the play with 660 bass. And I said, sounds great to me.
This will be Manning. Back to throw. Across the middle, pass complete. Ball down at the 35.
Just kind of watching him. I see him make the cut and just kind of thinking, well, maybe he has a chance.
30, 25, 20.
Well, he's really going to have a chance now, and I start speeding up a little bit.
All he did was score. Joey Kent. Touchdown on play number 1.
Just it was a great atmosphere to start, but when all of a sudden you hit that play, it was that's a feeling I'll never forget.
This will be Graham. No, it's Manning on the naked handoff, reverse to the left side. Nobody even knows who's got the ball except Peyton Manning. He's got the ball, and where is he? In the end zone for 6.
Tennessee roared out to a 21-0 first quarter lead. Alabama never recovered.
At the 5, at the 4, at the 3, at the 2, at the 1. Give him 6.
Jay Graham clinched it when he dashed 75 yards for the knockout punt.
35-40, 45-50, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15, 10, 5. Yes, he went all the way.
Tennessee erased years of frustration at the hands of Alabama in just one wonderful night. Tennessee 41, Alabama 14.
We hadn't beat them in forever, and to finally beat them, that was our biggest win of the year, I think.
I remember how badly I wanted to win that game, not necessarily for me, but for the seniors and for some of these people that have been around this game for so long. That was important to me, and so when we did it, and then we stayed after on their home field, which you're not really supposed to do, and had a little celebration there. That's just a game that always I'll kind of remember.
The floodgates had opened. The Volunteers hit their stride and were clearly one of the best teams in the nation.
Back to throw, looking across the middle, pass is complete. Joey Kent pulls it down, has the ball at the 35, to the 30, to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10. Pass going deep, man wide open. That's Kent at the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6. Touchdown! They got it!
At 10-1, the Vols accepted a bid to play 11-1 Ohio State in the Florida Citrus Bowl. In a rain-soaked contest, the Buckeyes scored first. In the second quarter, Ohio State was ready to punch in another score on 4th and goal.
It will be 4th down. Ohio State going for the first down. Movement. There's a man in motion from left to right. Here's the give to George. I don't know, sir. I do not know. Tennessee pounds him at the line. And it was Bill Duff at the bottom of the heap. He did not make it.
I think that's really what turned around the game. You know, turned around our defense, got the offense going and everything. And really, you know, we had a lot of fans down there, really got the crowd into the game.
The Ohio State lead was 7-0, but not for long.
This is Graham lumbering forward, breaks it free. This is Graham to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Tennessee!
In the third quarter, Peyton Manning directed Tennessee for another score.
Makes the catch. Touchdown, Tennessee! Give him 6.
Tennessee won 20-14.
That was an emotional win for us and stuff, and especially for the seniors closing out the year like that.
Just like the 1989 season, Tennessee won 11 games. This time, the Vols finished ranked second in the country.
And I think after winning that game, that magnitude, you know, I mean, it was two top 5 teams playing, and us winning, I think that gave confidence to the guys that were still here, the younger guys that say, hey, you know, we can be part of something special.
I don't know anywhere in the country that there's a more exciting 15 minutes, sometimes it takes that, to make that short walk to the stadium.
I was hoping Tennessee was going to have something like that, and when I first did it, I realized that Tennessee's is better than anybody else's because of the fans. They're out there and they line up in that tunnel for you. You know, walking down the street and the band would start playing, and then the crowd would sort of dead end, and you'd have to turn. And that was always my favorite part of the walk. And every time I got to the end of Yale Avenue to turn onto Stadium Drive, I always want to go back and get back in line because the players were so spread out. I always wanted to get back in line.
The 1996 season opened with the expansion of the north end zone at Neyland Stadium. The new upper deck helped jam a record crowd of over 106,000 for the season opener. The night also was a celebration of the 75th anniversary of Shields-Watkins Field. The Volunteers made sure it was a night to remember by rolling to a 62-3 victory against UNLV. The Volunteers set another record for attendance the following week when UCLA came to town. It was 21-13 when Terry Fair stretched the lead.
Fair 45, Fair to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, 15, 10, 5.
The Bruins rallied, but Peyton Manning put away the game.
Here goes the give and go round downfield, complete. 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Joey.
Tennessee beat the Bruins 35-20 in another memorable clash. Florida came to Knoxville the third week in September, and another attendance record was shattered. But it wasn't just a Tennessee record. 107,608 was the largest crowd ever to witness a college football game.
To the 25, to the 20, to the 15, 10, 5.
In the game, Peyton Manning threw for a school record of 492 yards and 4 touchdowns. Joey Kent became Tennessee's all-time career pass receiver. Tennessee fell behind early, and its comeback bid fell short. Florida won 35-29. But barely halfway through the decade, it was the last time the Vols would lose at home in the 90s. Tennessee traveled to Athens the next week to face Georgia. Sophomore Jeff Hall booted Tennessee's first 9 points, and Peyton Manning took over from there. Manning drilled a pass to Joey Kent for a 31-yard touchdown. After Georgia scored to draw closer, Manning played the part of magician.
Manning sneaks, edges forward, falls down, has no whistle yet. Manning rolling to the right side, motions to throws down into the end zone, and it is touchdown, Tennessee!
It was like the play was dead 3 different times. And you know, Peyton showed emotion on the sideline, but the kind of emotion he showed after that play was really, it was Peyton the kid, because that was a Sandlot play, the way it turned out. And he was laughing as hard as the other players were, and the fact that they wound up scoring on it.
The always amazing Manning lifted Tennessee to a 29-17 win between the hedges. It was Tennessee's 6th straight win in the series.
It's Tennessee, it's Alabama. That means for sure it's football time in Tennessee.
Alabama came to Neyland Stadium for an October showdown, and Tennessee looked for its 2nd straight win over the Tide. If it was going to happen, Tennessee would have to show some comeback ability. Alabama led 13-0 midway through the 3rd quarter. When the Tide stacked the line, Tennessee could not run the ball. But then Alabama went to the well once too often, and Manning made them pay.
45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5, give him 6.
That was really the difference in that ball game. So Joey was the guy that whenever we needed a big play, he was always there.
Tennessee was finally on the board, although still trailing 13-6. From there, Jay Graham took control. He pounded at the Alabama defense, and his 4th quarter touchdown tied the game at 13. The valiant Graham then gave Tennessee the lead and a sense of deja vu.
He gives the ball off Graham, trucking through the right side of the line. He got running room. Graham turns the corner. He's at the 25, to the 30, to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50. He has scored, and Tennessee goes 80 yards with Jay Graham. Why not run it every time?
It was the longest scoring run in Graham's career. For the game, Graham rushed for 128 yards. Tennessee led 20-13, but it wasn't over. The defense would have to win this one.
The Volunteers lead 20-13 over the Crimson Tide. Kitchens back to throw. Kitchens has the ball sliced away from him. There's a scramble for the ball, but Leonard Little hit the arm of the passing Kitchen to jar it loose, and Tennessee ends up with the football as it was Jonathan Brown who recovers the fumbled force by the slashing Leonard Little.
After the Alabama win, Tennessee had a stunning loss at Memphis, and I think that detracted too much from what really was an outstanding team that went on, of course, to win over one of the best of the Big Ten, Northwestern, in the Citrus Bowl.
Tennessee met the Big Ten champs in Orlando and jumped to a 21-0 lead. Peyton Manning hit sophomore Peerless Price for a 43-yard score. Manning later scored on one of his patented naked bootlegs.
10, 5, give him 6.
Manning connected one last time with Joey Kent to make his favorite target's final game in orange memorable. Tennessee finished the season 10-2 and ranked 9th nationally. As he ran off the field victorious, fans urged Peyton Manning to return for his senior season. 408 yards passing was a new Tennessee bowl game record, and many wondered if Manning had anything else to prove.
And I think we actually, as solemn as we were as we approached the podium there initially, that everybody said, oh no, you know, he's leaving.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
I just remember the explosion of emotion, just everybody leaping to their feet and screaming at the top of their lungs. It was just such a jubilation. And then out of the corner of my eye, I looked over and there was T. Martin kind of sitting there. And he was clapping, but he wasn't clapping nearly as loud as everybody else was.
You know, my mom told me, she said, God makes things happen for certain reasons. And I had to think about that for a while. Like, I want to play. But then that year, I developed so much as a quarterback.
There are a lot of guys that would have been in T. Martin's situation that would have said, that's it, I'm transferring, I'm going to go someplace where I can play. I'm not sitting behind Peyton Manning another year. T. Martin didn't do that.
I accepted it. You know, I was a team guy, and to me, that was the best decision for that football team.
I respect Peyton Manning for his decision to come back, but I also respect T. Martin as much or more for how he handled Peyton coming back.
Tennessee fans were thrilled with Peyton Manning's decision to return for his senior season. Hopes for a national championship and a Heisman Trophy were on the Volunteers' wish list. Tennessee opened the 1997 season against Texas Tech, and the senior signal caller riddled the Tech secondary for 310 yards and 5 touchdowns. The Vols won the opener 52-17. Tennessee ventured to the left coast the following week to play UCLA. With all eyes on Manning, the defense took the lead.
Touchdown, Corey Gaines.
Peyton Manning finally added to the onslaught, and Tennessee sailed to a 24-3 lead.
Rush throws the ball down into the end zone. It is touchdown, Big Orange.
In the second half, the Bruins mounted a comeback, but linebacker Leonard Little snuffed it out. He was named the SEC's Defensive Player of the Week for his efforts. Tennessee held on 30-24. Tennessee suffered a disappointing loss at Florida in Game 3. Struggling to find a running attack, the Vols turned to a freshman from Atlanta. His name was Jamal Lewis.
Checks off at the line. Now gives the ball off to Jamal Lewis, who pops through the left side of the line. Turns it on. He's at the 35.
Lewis blistered the Rebels for 155 yards.
What did he do? Scored for the Volunteers.
Tennessee won 31-17.
Here's Lewis.
The next week against Georgia, give the ball to Jamal became a favorite cheer among Vol fans.
Jamal Lewis pops up the middle, breaks to the outside. This will be Lewis. Lewis has the ball to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45. He's tackled as he gets to the 44-yard line.
Against his home state, he ran for 232 yards, the most ever by a true freshman at Tennessee. Manning was equally impressive. He became the 5th quarterback in the SEC to throw for over 9,000 yards. It was never a contest, and the Dogs were pounded, 38-13. Tennessee traveled to Legion Field on the 3rd Saturday in October for the annual battle with Alabama. Fullback Sean Bryson took the suspense out of this one early.
Touchdown, Sean Bryson.
Peyton Manning added 3 touchdowns.
Pull down at the 35, 30, cutting to the 25, back to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Peerless Price.
Tennessee topped the Tide 38-21. Peyton Manning showed that he had talents other than throwing a football when he took a turn directing the pride of the Southland Band.
And those are the things that make Tennessee football so special, because there aren't any other places, I don't think, that really can create so many kind of off-the-field memories as much as Tennessee can.
High left pitch will go to Lewis. The tailback needs a block, turns upfield at the 35-40, 45-50, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5, yes.
The Volunteers were on a roll. Lewis continued running, and Manning continued firing.
Manning dumps it out to the right side, pulled down by Lewis, breaks one tackle to the 20, has the ball to the 15, still on his feet at the 10. He's at the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get him 6.
When Tennessee traveled to Little Rock, Peyton Manning led a 4th quarter rally to upend Arkansas.
Manning throwing the ball deep downfield. The pass is going to be complete at the 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give him 6.
Apparently, Heisman voters had become bored with a one-horse race. Manning's winning numbers were solid, but suddenly a defensive back from Michigan named Charles Woodson was making a race of it. The level-headed Manning put aside any thoughts of a bronze statue. In doing so, he put up very Heisman-like numbers. He threw for an astounding 523 yards and 5 touchdowns in a duel with Tim Couch.
You know what happened. Touchdown, Andy McCullough.
Tennessee won a shootout, 59-31.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 touchdowns, 525 yards.
In spite of the performance, Manning's Heisman stock actually fell. To earn a trip to the SEC championship game in Atlanta, Tennessee needed to beat Vanderbilt. Emotions ran high at Neyland Stadium in Peyton Manning's and Leonard Little's final game. Fans were there in full force to savor their last run through the T.
Peyton Manning.
wasn't easy, but Tennessee sent Manning, Little, and the rest of the seniors out in style.
Keeps to the near side. Touchdown, Peyton Manning!
The SEC Eastern Division Championship was clinched on this memorable day. Peyton Manning treated the crowd to one more special rendition of Rocky Top before packing for Atlanta.
I can remember that just being an exciting week after we beat Vanderbilt in the last home game and kind of staying after on the field with the crowd and just knowing next week we were going to Atlanta.
Tennessee had 1 week to get ready for the SEC championship game against its old rival Auburn. The Vols were favored, but in the 6 years since the teams last met, apparently the odds makers forgot what this rivalry was all about. Tennessee struck first.
And it is touchdown, Tennessee!
Auburn came back to score 20 straight points and led 20-10 at the half. Tennessee's defense held the Tigers in the second half to only 66 yards, but the Vols still trailed 27-17. That's when Manning came up big.
Manning rolls out to the left, looking into the end zone. Give him 6.
Tennessee took the lead for good with a Manning to Nash connection.
As Manning throws to the right side, it is grabbed at the 30, breaking a tackle, 35-40, 45-50, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10-5, touchdown, Marcus Nash. The place is jammed. The Big Orange fans are happy. 4, 3, 2, 1. The champion of the Southeastern Conference for 1997, the University of Tennessee Volunteers.
The national and local airwaves were alive with discussion and debate over who should win the 1997 Heisman Trophy. Peyton Manning posted better numbers than the previous year's Heisman Trophy winner, but somehow the media reasoned his numbers were not good enough. His only flaw was being the season-long favorite in a year when the media grew bored with the process. When the votes were tabulated, Manning finished second to Charles Woodson. Tennessee fans were crushed, outraged, and bewildered. Manning, in his characteristic style, handled the entire situation with poise, grace, and class.
Well, undoubtedly, the fact that Peyton Manning did not win the Heisman Trophy and the fact that Tennessee really was whipped by Nebraska in the Orange Bowl was frustrating, but underneath that Orange Bowl game, probably none of us really realized the silver lining, because that was the birth of T. Martin at quarterback.
One of the best 2 weeks, actually, practice that we had was when Peyton was injured after the SEC championship, and T could feel that this team was his and at that particular time, and possibly he would be the starter in a national championship game against Nebraska. And I think our confidence in him soared at that particular time, and the team's confidence in him, because he managed it so well.
Tennessee lost to Nebraska, but learned a valuable lesson. Physical play wins championships. Fond farewells to Tennessee icons were fresh in the minds of fans when suddenly it was revealed there would be one more departure from the ranks of Tennessee legends.
All of us have decided that the upcoming year, 1998-99, will be my final year broadcasting for the University of Tennessee.
I think I was like everybody else. I was stunned. It was hard to imagine Tennessee football on the Vol Network without John Ward.
It's time.
1998 would be the last go-around for the voice of the Vols after 31 years. But what a way to go. Graduation took a heavy toll on the volunteer squad. Tennessee lost 6 All-SEC performers. A promising team returned, but skeptics wondered aloud how Tennessee could replace that much talent.
They had something special about them in the offseason. They felt like they had a lot to prove after losing some great players, and a lot of people were writing them off as somewhat of a rebuilding year. But going all the way back to the January offseason, they started working and bonding as a football team, and we had the really good spring, the really good summer, and you just felt starting the season, this is going to be a special team.
We didn't have any true superstars. We were just a unified team.
Hard work, solid fundamentals, and teamwork were the watchwords for this squad.
The magic moment is here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's football time in Tennessee.
The post-Peyton Manning era began September 5, 1998.
Give him 6.
T. Martin waited 2 years for his chance. That it came in front of a hostile sellout crowd at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse mattered not to Martin.
You know, you have to understand when T. Martin started as a junior, the jury was still out whether or not he could play.
There was a lot of doubters. Didn't anybody think that his first season could come in and do the things that he done? But only the team knew that T. Martin was a great athlete.
When it was my time to start, man, it was my time to go out and have fun with the guys, and that's all I did.
He never backed away from a challenge, and this was no time to start. The second half was a shootout. Tennessee led 24-13 after 3 quarters, but Syracuse put 20 points on the board in the fourth. T. Martin remained unfazed.
Run with that football, 20, 25, 30. Martin to throw. Here's the alley-oop into the end zone. Touchdown, Peerless Price.
Syracuse banged home 2 field goals to take the lead, 33-31. Tennessee's back was against the wall, and Martin handled the assignment flawlessly.
Just a different type of kid. His approach was different. He was looser. And I think, maybe that's one of the reasons, like in the Syracuse game, there were situations where the kids were still trying to adjust to him because Peyton was such a take-charge guy. T was take charge, but it was in a totally different way.
Yes, sir, Reed. Tennessee wins. The Volunteers defeat Syracuse. I do not believe it.
The win over the Orangemen gave Tennessee confidence and momentum as the Florida Gators came to Neyland Stadium 2 weeks later. Attendance records were once again shattered, and for good reason. For an early season game, the stakes in this series were always high. Win and you were in the driver's seat. Lose and you play catch-up for the rest of the season. Florida seized the early momentum and drove into Tennessee territory. The Vols would not relent, but Florida quickly went back to work, but so did senior Al Wilson. He forced a fumble that was recovered by Raynoch Thompson, and the Gators were held out of the end zone. Tennessee struggled to move the ball, but a big play was on the way.
Bryson breaks it to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, 40, 35, 30, into the end zone.
A Jeff Hall field goal pushed the advantage to 10-3. Florida came back to tie it at the half. Obviously, points were at a premium. Defense was the name of this game. Senior Peerless Price finally broke free for just a moment, and that moment was all T. Martin needed.
He grabbed it. Where did he grab it? In the end zone.
Florida countered, and the game was tied at 17. The fourth quarter went scoreless, thanks in large part to sophomore Deion Grant.
Intercepted, pulled away by Deion Grant.
For the first time in Tennessee football history, there was going to be overtime.
The kick by Hall is in the air. The kick by Hall is good.
Hall was true from 41 yards, and the Volunteers had a 3-point overtime advantage. If Tennessee was to win, it was up to the defense. The D gave up a first down, but no more. On fourth down, Florida coach Steve Spurrier opted for a tying field goal to force another extra period.
Snap, the kick is in the air, and the kick this time is no, sir, Reed. No, sir, Reed. Final score, Tennessee 20, Florida 17. Pandemonium reigns.
Tennessee had done it. The Volunteers knocked off the Gators 20-17.
I think it's one of the most exciting moments that I've ever had a chance to be involved with in athletics or anything else. It truly was a moment of elation for Tennessee football to have gotten over that hump and beaten a really fine Florida team.
It would go down as a landmark win and propel the Vols into the lead of the SEC East Championship race.
And I tell you what, we owe a huge hip hooray for our defense. Yeah!
Next on the Vol quest came a trip to the plains of Auburn, Alabama. Third-ranked Tennessee was heavily favored, and Sean Ellis was one reason why.
Ellis running with the football down the left side.
Ellis would be named Defensive Player of the Week for his efforts.
He made it.
Jeff Hall's efforts made it 10-0. Then Jamal Lewis got the ball.
This will be Jamal Lewis pounding up the middle, breaking into...
Tennessee was in complete control, 17-0. The defense was called on to show its championship form when the Tigers got the ball on the 1 foot line.
Give going off? No. No.
The defense bowed its back and beat Auburn 17-9. But all was not good in the Tennessee camp. Tailback Jamal Lewis was lost for the rest of the season. Lewis was Tennessee's big gun, and without him, the coaches wondered from where the firepower would come. Tennessee looked for an answer the next week between the hedges.
He was a little bit frustrated. He wanted to get out there and wing it and run the full offense, and they really kept the harness on him.
You know, it was frustrating, and sometimes you go into games and say, man, I know we can win the game in a better fashion than this. You know, come on, coach. And, 6 or 7 games of the season, he started doing that, and we started blowing people out. And I was like, all right, we're having fun now.
If the coaches were reluctant to lean heavily on T. Martin in the first 3 games, they now had little choice.
Martin back to throw, looking, waiting, pass across the middle, complete.
Tennessee went to the air more in this game and relied on the talents of Martin.
This is Martin, faking, looking, pass into the end zone is, give it to him. Touchdown!
The junior quarterback showed the coaches that they could win without Jamal Lewis, especially when the dynamic duo of Travis Henry and Travis Stevens lined up behind him. A short 3-yard pass to Peerless Price added insurance.
Give him 6!
The team hit its stride, and they dominated the Dogs 22-3.
You didn't all the way slam the door, but you damn sure shut it pretty tight. Like because right now, you are one of the finest football teams in America.
Tennessee was 5-0, headed into the showdown with Alabama.
It's Alabama, and it's football time in Tennessee.
In workmanlike fashion, T. Martin directed the Vols to 2 first-half scores. In the second half, the lead was cut to 14-11, but Peerless Price
as
had
a
an
Walden's
answer.
front to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, to the outside 25-30. Penalty marker down as Price is racing down the near sideline and will take it all the way home. It is a penalty against Alabama.
With the lead now 21-11, Tennessee turned to the ground attack and Travis Henry.
He will dive.
He scored 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns and rushed for 113 yards. Tennessee turned back the Tide, 35-18. The Vols were suddenly 6-0 for the first time since Philip Fulmer's playing days. The Volunteers spent the Halloween weekend in Columbia, South Carolina. Tennessee's offense, or more specifically T. Martin, was never better.
Touchdown, Tennessee.
Martin was on target, clicking off pass after pass.
We're calling the game, and suddenly you start looking where he's 5 for 5, he's 10 for 10, he's 15 for 15, and he just keeps going and going.
Throwing into the end zone, give it to him. Into the end zone, pass is complete for a touchdown. Martin throws out here, pull down behind the line, breaking a tackle to the 30, to the 35. To the
Every pass, I throw it, complete it, forget about it. Go on to the next one. I was taking it play-by-play. And I went to the sideline, everybody looking at me funny, and Coach Cutcliffe called a play that we hadn't called since the spring. And I said, why did he call this play? Maybe he had seen something, from the press box. But I went out, completed the pass, and the crowd started clapping. I'm like, why are these South Carolina fans clapping? We're killing them. Why are they clapping?
Copeland hauled in Martin's 22nd consecutive pass to tie an NCAA record. The mark was broken with a completion to Peerless Price.
All of a sudden, all the South Carolina fans started clapping. And that was the real special thing about it. I think everybody knew that they had just seen something they'll never see again. And T. Martin was so flawless that day. It's hard to imagine anybody could play quarterback at Tennessee any better than T. Martin did that day.
It was amazing. It was a blessing. I still don't know how I did it. If I can go out right now and try to throw it to you 24 times, I don't know if I could make it.
Tennessee rolled to a 49-14 win on this record-setting day.
All time! All time! Not Tennessee, not Southeastern Conference. All time!
having an NCAA record, which you just think how many years and years and years of NCAA football and how many passes have been thrown by how many great quarterbacks. I think that really makes a statement for his greatness.
The Vols were 7-0. Undefeated Tennessee moved to the top of the college football polls the next week after beating UAB 37-13 for the 8th victory of the season.
Everything is riding on this football game.
Well, you thought at the Arkansas game, the way that thing unfolded, that the football gods have to be aligned somehow.
Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
No, I don't think that's one of the best teams that you had in the 90s. I do think it was a team of destiny, and for people who don't believe in destiny, go back and look at that game.
It's Tennessee's last chance probably in the football game. This is Martin stepping up across the middle. Pass is broken up, incomplete. And so Arkansas stops Tennessee, leading by 2. On the 4th down try, Tennessee fails.
I'd say everybody in the stadium, except maybe for those players, were a little bit suspect of maybe pulling that game off.
This will be a major upset win for the Razorbacks, coming to Knoxville undefeated at 8-0, about to head back to Fayetteville 9-0.
I knew we had the heart, if tested, that we can, dig deep down and gel together and pull it out.
Our team was very much that way, and they had enough of the right type people and enough character on the football team that if we got the ball back, I felt like that we would have a chance.
I didn't take my equipment off because when I was coming off of the football field, Billy Ratliff told me he was going to get the ball back. So I'm looking at Billy like, yeah, you said it, but I don't know if you can do that or not.
And I was standing there and I heard Billy tell T that, and that was exciting in itself. And I think these kids still got this kind of confidence.
So I went on to the sideline, talked to Coach Cutcliffe. He's like, good game, hopefully the defense can do something. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, they do.
Arkansas will have the ball. Tennessee has 1 timeout remaining, 1:47 to go in the game. And Arkansas comes to the line with Sterner putting his team in the I formation.
And I turned and looked at Billy. I said, Billy, we got to make something happen right here. We can't lose. We got to make something happen. And I'll be dogged if he didn't make something happen.
The tailback is Shikuma. 2 receivers to the left side.
I don't know. He just had that look in his eye.
Sterner lost the football. Oh, my goodness. He stumbled and fumbled, and Billy Ratliff recovered.
I think that was one of the slowest plays I've ever been in. I think that ball was there for at least 3 seconds. And, I'm looking at it, thinking how I'm going to get this ball.
And Billy Ratliff is on top of it to recover at the 43-yard line.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, my goodness, I got to get it.
When we did go back to the field, I felt like we were going to win the football game because our kids just hit the field with so much determination.
Trailing by 2 points, 24-22. Travis Henry through the left side. This is Henry with the football, refusing to be denied.
Every time I came in the huddle, they wanted to run the ball.
Henry has a huge hole. Travis Henry inside the 20.
Tennessee just proceeded to do what it had to do to win.
This will be Travis Henry spinning, driving, fighting, carries the ball down to the 2-yard line.
He pounded until we got into the end zone and won that game.
They need to go to Henry. This will be Henry. He dives. Give him 6. Touchdown, Tennessee. Comes the blitz. Here is Martin.
The following week, there was no letdown against Kentucky. The Volunteers roared to a 59-21 victory.
Down, touch, down, Tennessee. This is Zolman back to throw. Zolman across the middle, pass is complete.
The SEC Eastern Division Championship belonged to the Vols as Vanderbilt fell in the regular season finale, 41-0. Tennessee was now off to the SEC Championship game for the 2nd straight season. This team of destiny finished the regular season undefeated. Championship Saturday proved a wild ride for teams competing in the BCS. Supposed shoe-ins were dropping like flies on what was termed Upset Saturday. Headed into the 8 o'clock SEC Championship game, the list of casualties included UCLA and Kansas State. Mississippi State represented the Western Division, and in the early going, many wondered if Upset Saturday would claim another victim.
He is into the end zone.
Tennessee answered with 10 points in the second quarter. A Jeff Hall 31-yard field goal was the last score for either team until the fourth quarter. The Bulldogs had only 65 yards rushing all night, but its kicking game kept the upset bid alive. Now, with less than 9 minutes to go, Tennessee was forced into comeback mode again. T. Martin had been there before.
It is 6 big points. Give him a TD.
Tennessee led 17-14. It was enough for the win, but a little insurance never hurt, so Corey Terry forced a fumble. After Eric Westmoreland recovered, Tennessee went for the knockout blow.
Looking into the end zone, downfield, it will be Wilson. Give it to him.
I think that was one of the happiest moments of our team because, I mean, that shut the doors for anything. Any questions that anybody had that is Tennessee ready to play in the Fiesta Bowl?
The Volunteers were now 12-0 and had won back-to-back SEC championships for the second time in a decade. It was a wonderful way to say goodbye to a great offensive coordinator. David Cutcliffe was leaving Tennessee to accept the head coaching position with Ole Miss. There was one bit of business left in the 1998 season. Thanks to the day's upsets of BCS contenders, a far more imposing contender rose from the rubble. Florida State would meet Tennessee in the Fiesta Bowl for all the marbles.
I don't think anybody was intimidated about playing against, quote, Bobby Bowden in the Florida State Seminoles. I think our team looked forward to it. They were very confident going in.
I remember Mike Gottfried and I talked, and I said, I don't have any question in my mind that they're not going to win the national championship because this team is supposed to win. It's just been written that way.
I'll tell you again, guys, I love every one of you. I love what you stand for. I love how you've gone about your business this year. I love the way we've grown as a football team. We have an opportunity in front of us tonight that doesn't come around every day. As I told you, 47 years since Tennessee football players have pulled on that orange shirt and had a chance to compete for a national championship. It doesn't get any better than this. Lay it on the line. You do not have to play perfect, but play your butts off. Take a lot of pride in those orange shirts, guys, as we get that field tonight. We can't put but 11 on the field, and that's all they can put out there at a single time. 11 on 11, man on man, heart versus heart, draw that sand, that line in the sand. Okay, step across and take what you want tonight because it's there for you.
The BCS couldn't have asked for a more beautiful setting for its marquee matchup.
I remember looking up, right before kickoff, right before the ball was kicked off, and all the flashes, everybody taking pictures. It was amazing just to see all the lights going.
But I was so focused on what I had to do. They could have dropped a bomb in the middle of the field. I probably wouldn't have even saw it. I was just so focused on Florida State. I had film study. We had won 12 games in a row, and by no means I let that last one slip through my fingers.
What time is it? As Tennessee comes barreling out onto the greensward of the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe, Arizona. It's football time in Tennessee.
My thoughts were, just to lay it all on the line. Don't leave anything out there on the field. You have 60 minutes to prove to the whole world that you're number one.
New offensive coordinator Randy Sanders cut his teeth in the biggest game of the year. The game was scoreless in the first quarter, but that changed early in the second.
Caught 3, 2, 1. Give him 6.
Tennessee led 7-0. FSU quarterback Marcus Outzen wanted to get the ball to All-American receiver Peter Warwick, and Dwayne Goodrich made him pay.
Intercepted Tennessee at the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, to the 20. Touchdown, Tennessee!
T. Martin's work wasn't finished. Up by only 5 in the fourth quarter, Martin looked for breathing room.
Got in the hold, I said, Peter, look, man, I'm going to fake. As soon as I come out of this fake, I'm throwing that ball. You just run down the field, I'm putting it down there.
Going to throw the ball long downfield for Fearless Bright. It is complete. He makes the catch at the 45. He's at the 40.
Tennessee was the national champion.
Just give it to him.
This team of destiny would not accept defeat. It was the first time in school history a team had ever won 13 games.
Tonight you represented the state of Tennessee, and the men that have worn that orange shirt, it's taken 47 years to get it back in Knoxville, Tennessee, but tonight you got the national championship. Hip, hip, hooray!
T. Martin waited 2 years to show the fans what he could do. Now he was a national champion and undefeated as a starter.
It was one of the greatest feelings of my life, really, as far as playing football. You know, to be in the biggest game of college football and having such a big contribution to the team's winning effort. You know, and thanks to my teammates and coaching staff, they let us go out and play ball, and we brought it home.
It was a night and a season that will never be forgotten. And for the retiring John Ward, he finally uttered the words fans had waited long enough to hear.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The national champion is clad in big orange.
Plenty of players were returning from the national championship team, but one new starter would have to be named before the Vols could take the first snap of 1999. Bob Kesling was named as the new voice of Tennessee football.
The strength of the Vol Network then and into the future will always be the people who listen. And I shared those thoughts with Bob Kesling.
He did send me a note when I got the job, and it was just a brief, as most of his notes are, very brief. It just said, have fun and get the score right.
Crowd stands, stops the feet. Klein back, flips it out. It's intercepted, first play. That's going to be a touchdown, Tennessee.
The 99 season was different as just somebody watching the game. It was tough, the loss at Florida, but it was invigorating to see Tennessee play well against Auburn.
Handoff Henry up the middle. Gets a block from Coleman. Breaks it to the 20, to the 15. Travis Henry scores for Tennessee.
The romp over Auburn carried over the next week in a romp over Georgia.
Tennessee didn't just beat Georgia in '99. They humiliated Georgia.
Tennessee won big over the Dogs, 37-20. Next up for Tennessee, a trip to Tuscaloosa.
Man, coming out, I had to really control my emotions because it was the biggest crowd to ever witness a football game in the state of Alabama history. And when the ball finally kicked off, Coach Sanders said, hey, we're going to go deep first play of the game. And with that mentality, it really helped me play that game. I knew we wanted to be aggressive. I knew we wanted to just kick their butt.
T. Martin rolls left, racing for the end zone. T. Martin in. Touchdown, T. Martin.
T. Martin iced the game in the fourth quarter, and the Volunteers extended the win streak to 5 straight over the Crimson Tide.
You know, I haven't lost to any school from Alabama, so when I go back home, I can hold my head up high.
After a victory over South Carolina, Tennessee was back on top of the BCS heap at 6-1. Two of the great names in college football renewed their rivalry on a beautiful November night in Knoxville.
Touchdown, Tennessee.
T. Martin put the game away in the fourth quarter as Tennessee beat Notre Dame 38-14.
Things just didn't fall like they did the year before, but they rarely ever do.
You know, the 1999 season proved that great things happen to Tennessee fans. Just imagine that a 9-2 season is disappointing. It's hard to believe, really, because it was a great year, and of course, the win over Vanderbilt was the 100th win of the 1990s.
Winning is never easy. Courting victory takes dedication and sacrifice. In a 10-year span, the Volunteers stepped onto the battlefield 123 times and walked away victors 100. It is a decade remembered for champions. The Volunteers won 3 Southeastern Conference titles and the crown jewel, the national championship. It will go down as the winningest and most successful decade in Tennessee's long and glorious football history. The 90s were a decade of dazzling wins, heart-pounding finishes, and tough, determined student athletes giving their all for Tennessee. It was indeed a decade of dominance.